I got married to my boyfriend of 8 years, but 3 months later he told me how unhappy he was with our relationship, and he didn't feel the need to mention that he'd started having an affair right after we got married. Posted by u/character buyer 1068. Hey Reddit. I've never made a post here, but I listen to them religiously. I feel like I know the answers I'm going to get, but I want to vent and also hear what you all have to say. I, 32F, married my husband, 31M, at the end of June after 8 amazing years together. We've lived with each other basically from the beginning. Our wedding and honeymoon was amazing. We have always gotten along, made each other laugh, and were happy. Or so I thought. About 2 months ago, we were cuddling on the couch and I felt something wet on my chest. At first I was like, "Ew, babe, you drooled on me," only to realize he was crying. In 8 years, I've only seen this man cry when our dog died. That moment cracked everything open. He admitted that he was unhappy and the floodgates opened. We didn't have enough intercourse, we have complete opposite work schedules, so we'll only get an hour together once a week and then Friday afternoons and Saturdays. Even with that, we were doing it at least once a week. He said he didn't feel loved, despite the fact that I go out of my way every day to make him feel loved. He complained that when I was 1 year into the relationship, I tried to move us to another state. He was angry that I didn't want to have a baby at 28 before we were married. The list goes on and on. I worked my ass off for the past 2 months to fix all of the things that were wrong with me. Communicated better. Initiated. Bought and read all the books on saving a marriage. Got into therapy. Got us into couples counseling. Still, he would cry every single day, and every time we tried to do the act, he couldn't get it up and blamed me for it. I was so supportive, patient, kind with him. I was worried about his mental health. His job is really dangerous and stressful, and I worried he was depressed. Then my therapist asked if he was cheating. The thought was so ridiculous to me. When the hell would he have time, and he would never. Then his mom and sister asked me the same thing. They pushed me to look at his phone, and I didn't want to violate his trust. It ate away at me until finally last week, after he got home late as fudge, I checked it. It was all right there. For months this man has been having an affair with a bartender. All of their messages were about how much they love having bedroom time with each other. Nudes. The same selfies he would send me, he would send her. They were telling each other they love each other so much. I even saw her mention my name a few times. What? Fudge. I confronted him. He admitted he loves her. But that he loves me more. I kicked him out and moved all his stuff out. Left town for a little while to be with family. And now I'm stuck in an emotional whiplash. Some days I hate him. Other days, I miss him so much and want him back. He's been my best friend for years and I love him to absolute pieces. We've talked a few times. He insists it was a mistake and he would take it all back. But he's not groveling. Not trying to make amends. Won't answer any questions about her. And doesn't have any immediate plans to cut things off with her. As I type this, I feel ridiculous for even asking if I should try to work things out with him. We've been trying for a baby for months. We were planning a life. I feel gaslit, confused, furious, and heartbroken all at once. I don't understand how someone can marry me, cry about being unhappy, let me twist myself into knots trying to save our marriage, and be cheating the entire time. Why marry me? I know he's known her for years, and since he wouldn't answer me when I asked if it was happening since before the wedding, I assume the answer is yes. What is wrong with him? What is wrong with me? So Reddit, is there any possibility of salvaging this? What is my best move? Why do I want to fix this when it is so egregious? I feel like my head and my heart are in two different places. I'd love to hear what you have to say about why I still feel so much love and what that means. Thanks so much. Update 1. Thank you all for the kind responses. I know it's probably frustrating to read this because the logical answer is so obvious, but my heart isn't in the same place. I'm grateful for all of the advice and am feeling stronger already. To clarify, we are not having intercourse anymore or trying to have a baby. We were trying for a kid for months before I found out about the affair, about a week ago. I packed all his stuff, changed the locks, and redecorated a bit to make my home feel mine instead of ours. I also got STD tested a few days ago and am awaiting a few more results. All have come back clear so far, silver lining? Edit 1. Thanks for all the advice, again. I have no real updates right now. Today was his birthday and I ignored his messages. You're all making me feel stronger, and when I feel tempted to text him, I read some of these comments and the rage sets in. We'll post updates as they come. Edit 2. Hi. Doing really well. I even have a date with a seemingly lovely guy this upcoming weekend, and I feel so excited. Even just talking to someone new for a few days made me realize how much greener the grass is and how much I've been settling. So excited for my future without this awful man. Update 2, 2 months later. It's been over 2 months since this all went down. Today I'm at just about 4.5 weeks of no contact. Things blew up when his girlfriend reached out to me wanting to commiserate with me about him being a jerk. Like, no thanks. Blocked her. Blocked him. Block, block, block. It's been a roller coaster, but I'm proud of myself for cutting off what doesn't serve me. I get moments and days of sadness, which I feel a lot of shame around. It feels embarrassing to feel sad over someone that wronged me so badly, but I know it's part of the process, and I keep reminding myself that he is not who I thought he was. When I need a little extra motivation to be mad, I remind myself that when I asked what the plan was, having me and a girl on the side, he said I hoped you would get pregnant so I would have a reason to stop. And that he thought life with me would be mediocre. Bye. Since we've broken up, I've traveled, been in therapy consistently, worked out regularly, been on a few dates, and spent more time with friends and family. I know it'll keep going up from. Thanks all for the love and support. Update 3. 7 months later. Hi Reddit fam. I cannot believe it's been about 8 months since I found out my ex was having an affair. I still come back to this post sometimes, and genuinely, your comments helped me get through the worst period of my life. Even the ones that made me want to throw my phone across the room because I knew you were right. So, I figured it was time for an update. First and most importantly, we are not together. We haven't seen each other since January, and I can confidently say there will be no reconciliation. And here is possibly the most unbelievable plot twist of this entire story: we found out our marriage was never legally filed. The paperwork apparently got lost in the mail and never made it to City Hall. And before you say it, because I know I truly do not think he tampered with it, I personally dropped it in the mailbox at the post office. I choose to believe that somewhere out there, a guardian angel saw what was coming and said, absolutely the F not. So after 8 years together, a wedding, vows, honeymoon, everything, I walked away without even needing a divorce. Wild. He paid me rent through the end of our lease and still sends me money occasionally. I know there is an argument that accepting it keeps us tethered, but girls got bills. Keep it coming, Lamau. I've picked up some side gigs for money, but I live in an expensive city and can use all the help I can get. In the month or so after everything blew up, my ex went back and forth a lot. He asked me to get back together. He asked me to run away with him. He talked about eloping and still having babies together. At one point, he told me he had ended things with his affair partner. And I am very proud of past me because somehow, even while my entire life felt like it was collapsing, I held the line. I told him I don't hate myself enough to ever get back together with him. I also told him to go and end things with his AP because maybe he could repair that relationship, but there was absolutely no repairing ours. I do sometimes wonder what they tell people about how and when they got together. Ache. Eventually, his AP reached out to me because apparently she wanted to commiserate with me about him lying to her. Wow. The engaged man you knowingly started a full-blown relationship with lied to you? Shocking. Ma'am. No thank you. I blocked her. I blocked him. Block, block, block. While my anger is mostly directed at him, I still think she's a bad person, and I hope her pillow is always warm and there is perpetually one tiny pebble in each of her shoes. My ex and I went more than 4 months completely no contact. When a family member passed away, he, as I expected, used that as an opening to reach out. We've spoken a handful of times since then, almost entirely about logistical things. We did catch up a little once, I know. Bad. My friends have already yelled at me, but the second he started bringing up the past and asking why I couldn't meet his needs, I ended the call. Nope. That was actually a pretty important moment for me. 8 months ago, I would have immediately started explaining myself, defending myself, or wondering what I could have done differently. Now I heard it for what it was, him still trying to make me responsible for choices he made. Line drawn. No thank you. I can tell he misses me, and I would be lying if I said I don't sometimes miss parts of our old life too. But missing something is very, very different from wanting it back. Also, for everyone who wondered whether he ever fully took accountability for what happened, I'll let you decide. His life pretty much imploded after we broke up. He moved in with his best friend, who eventually kicked him out, and last I heard he was living on his parents' couch. The truly wild part is that, as of Easter, he was apparently still telling his family that we were together and that I was just visiting family when I wasn't showing up to family events. Sir, it has been months. Then in July, he randomly texted me asking whether I had told his family we broke up because people were starting to ask him questions. I had not. Which means this grown man apparently made it more than half a year without fully owning the fact that his relationship had ended. Yikes. That text honestly told me everything I still needed to know. The avoidance, the lying, the refusal to own what he did, it wasn't just about the affair. As for the affair partner, I believe they may still be together, but I genuinely do not know. I asked everyone close to me not to give me updates about either of them. I don't want screenshots. I don't want gossip. I don't want to know whether they're happy, miserable, married, broken up, living together, whatever. Not my circus anymore. And surprisingly, I don't really need the answers I desperately wanted 8 months ago either. When I wrote my first post, I kept asking, why did he marry me? Why did he do this? How could he watch me twist myself into knots trying to fix our marriage while knowing the entire time that he was cheating? I thought if I could just understand it, maybe I could make peace with it. I understand now that there probably isn't an answer that would ever make it make sense to me. He made selfish, cowardly choices. That is the answer. Something else I've had to come to terms with is that the affair wasn't the only thing wrong with our relationship. With some distance and a lot of therapy, I can recognize patterns that I normalized over 8 years that were emotionally abusive. Sister explained it to me using the frog in boiling water analogy. If you throw a frog into boiling water, it jumps out. But if you put it into cool water and slowly turn up the heat, it doesn't realize what's happening until it's too late. That's what this relationship feels like looking back. He didn't wake up one morning 8 years ago and suddenly start treating me terribly. It happened slowly. A critical comment here. A nasty joke there. Comments about my appearance. Texts with girls that just crossed a line. Being so temperamental and moody that I walked on eggshells. And because it happened little by little, I got used to it. Things that would horrify me if a man said them to me on a third date somehow became things I accepted from my husband. Instead of asking, why is someone who loves me speaking to me this way? I would ask myself, what can I change so he stops? That has been one of the biggest things I've had to unlearn. I'm realizing how much of myself I made smaller to keep the peace, how often I accepted cruelty as humor or criticism as communication, and how much my confidence eroded without me even noticing it happening. The affair was the explosion that ended our relationship, but I can see now that the relationship had been hurting me long before I ever knew about her. Meanwhile, my life has gotten so much bigger. I've stayed in therapy. I'm probably in the best shape of my life. I've traveled. I'm doing things I love. I've spent a ton of time with my friends and family. I've poured energy into the people who showed up for me when my life completely fell apart. And I feel like I'm getting my sparkle back. The weird thing is, with some distance, I can see now that he was dulling that sparkle long before the affair. I spent a long time grieving not only him, but the life I thought I was supposed to have by now. When I married him, I thought the next chapter was babies, a family, growing old together, all of it. Obviously, that chapter got ripped up. And for a while that terrified me. Now I'm getting more comfortable with the idea that my life might look different than the one I planned. Best case scenario, I fall deeply in love again and have a family someday. Worst case scenario? Maybe I don't have kids of my own, and I get to be the cool, slightly unhinged aunt who spoils her nephew rotten. I have a new nephew now, and honestly, he has been one of the biggest blessings to come out of this year. I am also dating someone. He is kind. He treats me well. And I'm intentionally not putting some huge "is this my future husband?" pressure on the relationship. Maybe he is my person. Maybe he isn't. What I do know is that this experience completely changed what I am willing to accept from a partner. I'm not going to mother a grown man. I'm not going to beg someone to communicate with me. I'm going to choose someone who chooses me. And, probably most importantly, I'm never going to forget to choose myself first. One of the biggest things I'm working on is not making a relationship the center of my life. I spent so many years being part of an us that I think I forgot how important it is to have a strong sense of me. I don't want to be codependent on another person. I don't want my happiness, confidence, plans, or sense of security to depend on whether a man chooses me. Things are not magically perfect. I still think about my ex. Sometimes I still get angry. Sometimes something random reminds me of our life together and it feels surreal that a person who was beside me for 8 years is basically a stranger now. But I don't cry over him anymore. I don't wish we were back together. I don't fantasize about him suddenly becoming the person I thought he was. And I no longer feel ashamed that I loved him for as long as I did. I love the person I believed I was building a life with. Finding out that person wasn't who I thought he was doesn't make the love I felt fake. In a very messed up way, the affair gave me the kick in the ass I needed to walk away from a relationship I probably should have walked away from years ago. 8 months ago, I genuinely did not know how I was going to survive losing the life I thought I had. Turns out, I didn't lose my life. I got mine back. Thank you guys for helping me see that before I was ready to see it myself.